frequencies. Black Fit Witch here, and we're gonna have a conversation today about psilocybin cubensis, the magical mushroom, the intelligence. I want to talk about it because I had a dream about the mushroom, and I'm also getting ready to facilitate a sitting for someone on tomorrow. And just the energy of the mushrooms excuse me, have been calling out. We're going into their seasons. We're really getting into their season. October is their season. So you'll see, no matter where you live, you may see mushrooms growing wild. They'll, of course, be poisonous most of the time. You'll see mushrooms growing wild in your backyard or front yard and in areas of your neighborhood. And they'll just be there. But you'll see the energy of the mushrooms is coming out. And I want to talk to people about my experience with the mushrooms when I first had my experience, and then how it led me to where I am now, as well as some things that you can expect. I know I've done videos on this before, on like prepping. And because we're in the energy of the mushroom right now, I'm going to go over it, prep again, expectations. And it's like every year, that I engage and commune with the mushrooms, I gain, a deeper understanding and knowledge. Of course, I love to study them. I love to talk with others who have experiences with psilocybin. And it's not just... And I want people to understand, it's not just for you to go in on the mushrooms and have a trip. You could do a dose of mushrooms and you may not have a trip. I've had people do low doses and they really don't have a trip. Or you can microdose and you don't have a trip. You don't have to have a trip or an experience or see all these magical things every time that you go on a mushroom journey. You are communing with them. It's a connection, it's a relationship that you're having with them, and you have to treat it as such. It's just like when you with your significant other. Every time you with your significant other, you may not always be excited or happy, or you making love and you just connected and you holding hands and hug. It may not be that every time. You may just be in the presence of that person or someone that you love or you are interacting with, and you're just there. You don't have to have this wow factor every time that you're with them. And that's how it is with the mushrooms. They are to be respected. They are an energy and entity that we have to understand what it is. And some people have been introduced to the magic that they hold from, word of mouth, or now that we have platforms such as YouTube, they've watched videos on YouTube. Or you may be like me, I read Food of the Gods initially is my thing. I didn't go to YouTube. I didn't look at anything on YouTube. I wanted to read about information, and once I read it, then I went to YouTube, and that's when I found Baba Kalindi Iyi. If you're not familiar with Baba Kalindi Iyi, he is an ancestor now, but he was one who really began the spokesperson, or I would say a psychonaut, a researcher. He was just all of these different things. Martial artist, African martial art. He did so many different things to bring an understanding and awareness of what the psilocybin, the magic mushroom, was, especially to our communities of people who look like us and look like me. So big ups to Baba Kalindi for doing that and still working in the other realms that he would frequent on his high doses. To go in, I want to talk to you all really about my experience, and I was sharing this with someone today before she goes on her journey. And I had a experience, a friend, someone that I knew gave me, he was like, you want to try some mushrooms? And I was like, yeah, you hear things about mushrooms, you may be fairly new on your journey. I was fairly new on my spiritual journey. And he gave me a little Ziploc bag of mushrooms. I didn't weigh it. I didn't know about weighing it. I didn't know about, grams, how many grams I'm taking. I just knew that he told me to take these mushrooms and, see what happens. He didn't give me any type of spiritual connection or information to the mushrooms at all. It was pretty much, here, try these, see what happens. It was very a loose connection that he gave me. But no matter what the connection is, when they come to you, they know to come to you. That's the intelligence. That's the intelligence of the mushroom, y'all. And so I get the mushrooms. I get the bag of mushrooms. And at this time, I had a little fitness studio. So I'm at my fitness studio, and it's late in the evening. I'm getting ready to go out with some friends, and I eat this bag of mushrooms, and nothing happens. Well, first, let me go back. First, I ate like a handful. I don't know how many grams or nothing, y'all. I know I ate a handful. And I sat there for a minute to see what was going to happen. I didn't know anything about experiences on tripping, and I don't know nothing, y'all. I just was taking it. I had no clue. And I didn't feel anything. So, I waited a couple of hours, and then I took some more. I took another handful of them, just was eating on them. And I didn't feel anything. So he had texted me. He was like, what's going on? What happened? And I was like, nothing happened. I was like, nothing happened. He was like, did you feel anything? I was like, no, I didn't feel anything. Nothing happened. Now, I have two different thought processes on what I feel was going on. First, I believe that because I wasn't at a particular point in my journey and my consciousness, that the mushrooms were not showing themselves to me because I wasn't prepared for that at the time on my journey at that time. That's one thought process that I believe. And two, they just could have been some duds. They could have been old. I don't know how old they were. I don't know, what the strain was. I don't know anything. So those are my two theories that I've come up with in regards to the mushrooms when I took this whole Ziploc bag of who knows how many grams. It was way more than 5 or 6 grams. It had to be close to about 10 grams. And I had nothing occurred. Now, fast forward 2 years after that, I get introduced to the mushrooms again. At this time, I have someone who is knowledgeable and shares a little bit more insight into the experience and what they are. This time I take 2.5, I believe. And it's chocolates. And so with the 2.5, we go out in nature. And, I'm starting to feel the heaviness in my body. We go out, we sit out in nature in meditation, and I feel like I am connected with all the nature around me. I feel like a flower sitting in a field. And one thing that really jumped out to me was the fact that all of the noise pollution that we have going on here on this planet, it was just a lot of noise pollution. I heard sirens, I heard airplanes. It was like all of that was just annoying to me. And that was the first thing that I remember coming to me. It was like, oh, it's just so much noise pollution. I remember that. And then we got up to leave, you know, after we kind of felt the experience starting to dwindle down. And I look back and I see a white horse. And I was just like, what a white horse? Because on his property, there are white horses. And one of the horses, is, I call him Snowflake, is a all white horse. And I was like, how Snowflake get over here? And my friend, he told me, there's no horse over there. What are you talking about? And I was like, okay. So I knew I had gone on a trip. Instances after that, other experiences I've had, I've seen a shape or form of a Hindu god that looks like it was in like a kaleidoscope form. I've seen the Matrix ones and zeros. I've channeled information. I've done some healing work. I've cried. I've done a lot of course, I've had so many different experiences now that, you know, it was more than, it's way more than I can talk about in this video. But I want you all to get an idea of, you know, how I started off with the experience. I didn't have any expectations, right? Because remember, when I first took the bag of mushrooms that a friend of mine gave me, I had no expectation. I really didn't even know what mushrooms were, or what they were gonna do. In my mind, I thought I was gonna get high like smoking cannabis. I really didn't know, and that's why I wasn't afraid to take handfuls at a time. I had no thoughts on what was going to happen. I put it that way. No prior notions or research on anything. I just pretty much was just taking a mushroom. So going into it now, I have noticed that when I do higher dose, anything over 3 grams that I know I'm going to do, I cannot eat food. So I tell people to respect the mushrooms. Make sure that you cleanse your space, y'all. Cleanse your home, cleanse your area, take a shower or a bath, wash and cleanse yourself. Make sure that you are cleansed. And then go in with your intentions. Have an intention of what you want to know, a deeper understanding, a knowing of self. More so of you wanting to connect to your soul essence, to understand your mission. Because that's really all we are here for, is to be on our mission, to be on our path. So having a mindset of knowing what your intentions are by going in on these mushrooms and being intentional about that from a higher spiritual perspective, right? So you want to respect them in that regard. I don't suggest anybody to do mushrooms as like a recreational drug or just to get high, you know, and go out and party and all of that. But, you know, to each his own. Everybody's experience is their experience. That's just not my suggestion. I suggest we use the intelligence to help us connect to the divine. All right, the mushrooms are just a tool. I feel like everything on this planet is a tool for us to be able to utilize to help us on our path and to help us on our mission. And so going all into that, I want to go, of course, into the dream, because I can't remember. Last night, I cannot recall what I dreamt about. I've been sitting with it today and trying to sit with it, and then nothing's coming to me. But I woke up to do my workout. I have a morning workout I do, and around 5 o'clock, 5:30, I lay back down to go back to sleep around about 6. And then I have a dream. Now, this dream I do recall. Now, in this dream, I'm at my house. Someone comes over and I have these orders of mushrooms. It's weird. And so I go to the freezer. My cousin is there, and I'm telling her about who needs what. This person needs 3 grams. This person needs 5 grams. This person needs 10 grams. And going in there, so I got to make sure I have enough, and I have enough for me as well. And we're in the freezer, looking at the packages of mushroom, and then other mushrooms just start appearing out of nowhere, like they just growing in the freezer. We go in the back of the freezer, there's more mushrooms growing in the back of the freezer too. And then I pick them up and I look at them. I say, oh no, these aren't the magical kind. These are just mushrooms. And so, and then of course I wake up and there was some other parts of the dream, but that was the main part of the dream, y'all. Of course, I just cut to the chase and give y'all the main part. And so that goes back to kind of like where I started this video, talking to you all about the season. This is the season of the mushroom. We're going to see mushrooms pop up in different areas, and all of them, they're not, of course, unless you got cows around, and they're growing on the cow dung, they're just gonna be, wild mushrooms. You may find like some turkey tail, or you'll find different types of edible type of mushrooms depending upon where you live. But if you're not a mycologist, if this isn't anything that you study and do, I don't suggest you eat anything that you find out in the wild, because you don't know what it is. You really don't know. But yeah, this is the season of harvesting, and this is definitely the season of the mushroom. And it's Libra season. I had a friend of mine, Jeremy, he brought it out to our attention that this is the Libra season of balance. And it's funny that the mushrooms are growing during this season because they are balanced. They give you the intelligence and the information that you may not be able to receive just on your regular day-to-day spiritual walk. They kind of pull the veil off of that third eye. They raise the Kundalini energy up, and they take you forward into where you need to be. I always suggest people start in increments. I don't suggest anybody start off with a high dose. That's just me, because you don't know what your reaction is going to be to it. And I don't want anybody to, be taken aback or afraid or scared to go on another journey. So I always say start off, if you don't know the strain, 1 or 2 grams. And then do increments of 1.5 or 2 grams as needed, because this is plant medicine. These are doses. This is not something you want to just jump on in. You don't know what dosage is best for you, so take it in increments. All right. So yeah, that is my mushroom dream. This is my salute to the mushroom season. I hope that you all, if you haven't already, I hope you all consider a mushroom journey and having a mushroom experience with the psilocybin cubensis, if you haven't already, and being able to share. If you all have already had a mushroom experience, feel free to leave it in the comments what your experience was like. What did you receive? What is still ongoing? Because like I tell people, mushrooms aren't just like a high and that's it. They are now integrated into your system, and they are connected with you, and it's everlasting, y'all. It's an everlasting experience. It's a beautiful experience. So that's what I wanted to share today. I'm getting ready to go, of course, and work out. Black Fit, which fit, don't forget the fit part, y'all. Fit. I gotta work out. And so I leave you in peace, and as always, high frequencies.